All right. Shalom, shalom to the brethren. What up, to everybody else? This is y'all, Brandon Lewis, and this is What It Do with B-Lew. I guess it ain't gonna show that in the back just right. That's What It Do with B-Lew. Discussing different topics with a biblical perspective. So, today, I know it's been a while, man, since I did a video. It's been a lot going on in my personal life. All praises to the Most High, the creator of the heavens and the earth, and thanks to his Ben, his son, his chosen representative, Yahushua HaMashiach, who the world knows is Jesus Christ. Uh, you know, as always, I come to cause my people to consider things in which they might not have considered and the things in which they might not have even known of to consider. And I've spoke on um, leaders of the people. I've spoke on government and things of that nature in times past, and howbeit many of you have never seen those videos or have not cared to even watch those videos. So, uh, howbeit the Most High has put it on my heart to bring some to you today in regards to both of those, the leadership in our community, um, in the present and times past, and also the role of the government in that. So, as the topic, why have quote unquote black people as a whole not progressed? Why have we not gotten any progress um, as of late, or even ahead of where our forefathers were, as far as not income, but as in stability, as in ownership of uh, large areas in our communities, like hospitals, like law enforcement, like schools. Not one or two schools. I am aware that there are quote unquote black schools um, around the country, or like academies and whatnot, right? But it's few and far in between. The reason is that we have leaders who compromise, who have been compromised, usually through, you know, some sort of sexual kind of a situation. I know everyone has heard of the whole Epstein files and P. Diddy and the whole freak off things, right? These are the kinds of things in which leaders and influential people in our community get caught up in and get blackmailed in, right? I said long ago that um, you know, Epstein was not the only one, that Puff Daddy was not the only one, that this happens everywhere. It happens on a local, national, and international level, from your city councilman all the way up to your president, right? Not only city councilman, but from you know, your school school board councilman. Everybody's corrupted, and it is a plan. It is a structured plan that's been placed upon us. So this is widely known, right? What's not widely known and considered is that those in whom we love, those in whom we trust, are they a part of this system? When we know that it is, well, as I will show you, that those of our people who have charisma and who have large influence, it is the goal of the government to compromise these people. It is the goal of the government to make these people be in agreement with them and for these leaders to be of no true effect, but minute at best if they aren't in the system. So wherever you see large influence, wherever you see a large gathering and pooling of our people and their minds and their talents and their heart, you should question, you should analyze, you should look to see, are these people truly benefiting us, or are they what's called controlled opposition? So let's get into it. All praise to the Most High, y'all. How many of you know about something called COINTELPRO? Right, I'm sure you've heard about it. With the whole Black Panthers and things of that nature. But let's get all the way. Let's get all the way into it, shall we? Let's get it blown up for you. Let's get it blown up for you. Mic check, mic check. Wow. Now we don't have power. Now we don't have power. All of a sudden. All of a sudden we don't have power. Wow. This is insane. Babe. Let me get one of these charger cords. Or man, it's so crazy, man. Why this thing just went off all of a sudden? It's been on all this time. And get back. Talking about the computer? No, I'm talking about the microphone box. Just went off. Well, I can still hear you. Really? Yes. Well, if I can't hear myself, that's part of the problem. One second, y'all. I think it's this cord. No, it's on. Never mind. Isn't this just the craziest thing in the world? Mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check. All right, we got action. Now I can hear myself. Mic check, mic check. Mic check. Okay. Dang. All right. Can you hear me now, babe? All right, I'm back. All praise to the Most High. So, COINTELPRO. Although the FBI, hold on, let me check and make sure we share it right up here. All right, we got action. Let's find out about COINTELPRO. Mic check, mic check. Mic check. Mic. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Mic. Okay. COINTELPRO. Although the FBI's COINTELPRO against the Black Liberation Movement was not formally initiated until issuance of J. Edgar Hoover, August 25th, 1967 memo quoted above by Noam Chomsky. The roots of the Bureau's anti-Black counterintelligence operations extend much deeper into U.S. history. As was documented in the introduction to this volume, Hoover was engaged at least as early as 1918 in plans to destroy Black nationalist leader Marcus Garvey under the guise of criminal proceedings. This occurred in the context of the infamous race riot that first engulfed East St. Louis in July 1917, taking the lives of 39 blacks and 9 whites, and the explosion that occurred less than 2 months later in Houston, Texas, in which 2 black soldiers and 17 white men lost their lives. Such violence was part of the process by which the U.S. national order, in which blacks as an overall population lived under near total political disenfranchisement, economic prostration, and super exploitation of their labor by the Euro-American status quo, was intended to be preserved. In the aftermath of World War I, blacks had begun to mount the first serious challenge to such circumstances, such as the Reconstruction period immediately following the Civil War. Hoover and his proto-FBI organization, in kind with white vigilante formations, seem to have seen one of their primary missions as keeping blacks, quote unquote, in their place by whatever repressive means were available. Memo initiating COINTELPRO, Black Liberation Movement. This is a copy of the memo pertaining to the FBI director initiating COINTELPRO. Officers receiving copies. Hold on, let me see if I can get this in a little better for you. Officers receiving copies of this letter are instructed to immediately establish a control file, captioned as above, and to assign responsibility for following and coordinating this now counterintelligence program to an experienced and imaginative special agent, well versed. We will get to the training of these special agents, okay? These special agents were trained on how to subvert, how to move, how to get in these organizations and to sabotage their efforts. We have writings about this as well. Special agent well versed in investigations relating to Black nationalist, hate type organizations. The field office control file used under this program may be maintained in a pending inactive status until such time as a specific operation or technique is placed under consideration for implementation. The purpose of this new counterintelligence endeavor is to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the activities of the Black nationalist, hate type organizations and groupings, their leadership, spokesmen, membership, and supporters, and to counter their propensity for violence and civil disorder. See, they want to act as if these groups are coming together for violence, right? Now, you have what's called organic, which is natural, homegrown, things that come about naturally. And then you have man-made or artificial, which is the types of groups they would go on to make. Okay, the counterintelligence was first to disrupt the organic movements. And then once they disrupt the organic movements through sabotage and through coercion, they would create artificial movements. When you find out groups like Al-Qaeda, groups like ISIS are not organic terrorist groups, but they are artificial groups that are funded by government entities. They will tell you this about other countries. They will tell you openly that they do this to other countries. But what you don't realize is that before they ever did it there, they did it here. And they do it here to this day. This is what we need to understand, is that the organic movements get subverted. How do they subvert these organic groups? They expose, disrupt, discredit, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the activities of the Black nationalists. This is why you see certain people that talk about stuff that ain't got nothing to do with addressing our real issues, our real core problems. Because these aren't organic movements. These are artificial. These are government made, government pushed, government allowed. But then you have groups that really help the community, that really do things to really benefit us as a whole. These groups have controversies that are never proven. These groups have scandals that are never proven. They're just spoken of. And you find out years later that statements were changed. You find out later that rulings were overruled. You find out later that things were not as they made them seem to be. But while that organic group gets discredited, this artificial group gets promoted and gets put out. But the thing about the devil is this: the devil never allows you to ever get or to keep his promises that he promised to you. Whatever you corrupt yourself for, whatever you sell your soul for, he's going to come back one day. He's going to take it all from you. And that's what happens with these artificial groups. They get exposed. They get taken down. Once they become no longer beneficial, once they get, quote unquote, too big for their britches, he comes back and he takes everything he gave to them. The activities of all such groups of intelligence interest to this Bureau must be followed on a continuous basis, so we will be in a position to promptly take advantage of all opportunities for counter intelligence. This is, mind you, this is what they want to do to the organic groups. Okay, there's two groups, organic and artificial. The artificial don't need counterintelligence. Not against them. They need counterintelligence for them. So, say a person is involved in this artificial intelligence and say, you know what, I'm going to, quote unquote, blow the whistle. I'm going to be a whistleblower. I'm going to expose this group. These people come up missing. These people come up unalive. These people drown in their own swimming pools. These people's brakes stop working. These people's cars lose control and hit trees and run off in the ditches. This is the counterintelligence that's used on people seeking to expose the artificial. And people who are a part of the organic that refuse to be compromised, that refuse to bend or to yield, these people also get those same consequences happen to them. So you have to consider these people that aren't really benefiting our community fully. We're not talking about lip service. We're not talking about prosperity preaching, which has become pretty common, right? We're not talking about prosperity preaching. We're talking about the real movers and shakers, the people that really want to address the holes, the gaps, the breaches in the walls of our people that really hurt us, that really deteriorate us, that speak against fatherless homes, that speak against matriarchal homes, who are for unity of man and woman, who are for the benefit and the discipline of children, who are for order and structure in our schooling system, who are for order and structure in our diets and in our goings and our comings. These people are the ones who are going to face the true backlash and the true persecution. So the people who are not for those things and who are prospering, who are growing groups, you have to come to the conclusion that these people are a part of the problem, regardless of what they say, regardless of the small things they might do, because they are allowed to do small things to bring about some sort of authenticity, right? That's just collateral damage. Yeah, I give you a couple dollars. You can go and feed the poor, but you better not stabilize the poor. You better not teach the poor to be self-sufficient. Okay? They'll give you back to school packets, book bags, and crayons, but you better not make it to where you form your own schools. You better not make your own book bags and make your own crayons. This is what I want you to consider. Why don't we have these things? Why do we always have to go and suck on the tit of the heathen, suck on the tit of our oppressor for our nourishment? Why are we not self-nourishing? This is the sign of counterintelligence. It's this dependency. It's this mock opposition to the oppressor, all the while leaning on the oppressor for goods and services. This is the This is the sign of a true saboteur, as we will get into in a little bit. The activities of all such groups of intelligence interests to the Bureau must be followed on a continuous basis. So we will be in a position to promptly take advantage of all opportunities for counterintelligence and to inspire action in instances where circumstances warrant. The pernicious background of such groups, their duplicity, and devious maneuvers must be exposed to public scrutiny. Where such publicity will have a neutralizing effect. Efforts of various groups. Now, they had already had a list of cities and groups in these cities: Atlanta, Baltimore, Boston, Buffalo, Charlotte, Chicago, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Detroit, Jackson, Los Angeles, Memphis, Newark, New Orleans, New York, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Pittsburgh, Richmond, St. Louis, San Francisco, Washington field office. Let me see here. Efforts of the various groups to consolidate their forces or to recruit new or youthful adherents must be frustrated. These are against the organic groups. They want to make sure these people don't get new followers and new members. No opportunity should be missed to exploit through counterintelligence techniques the organizational and personal conflicts of the leadership of the groups, and where possible, an effort should be made to capitalize upon existing conflicts between competing Black nationalist organizations, because it's well known with our people we don't get along. This group don't like that group. The Methodists don't like the Baptists. Okay? The Black Panthers don't like Snook or some other organization. We don't agree with each other's methods. So, to prevent us from ever unifying, they want to know what problems we have with each other, and then they get amongst us and spread rumors and spread lies to the point to where you think, not only do I not agree with you, but now you think I'm going out and I'm talking about you when I never talked about you. I just said I don't agree with that. They'll have you thinking I said you a sucker, you a liar, you a cheat, you sleeping with women, sleeping with kids, you doing all manner of stuff. But I haven't said any of this stuff. That's the form of counterintelligence they're talking about. Now, when you think about religious groups today, why won't these groups come together? Why won't these groups join? Because of counterintelligence. Part of it is innately in us. We have this spirit of competition. We have this spirit of it can be only one. It can only be one king of the hill, which was given to us by our oppressors. Okay. This was counterintelligence in the slavery times and even pre-slavery times, right? Once we came out of slavery, they had to have a new level of counterintelligence, but they didn't throw away the old tricks. They just made new tricks and used all the tricks where needed and where most effective. This is what we got to understand. So as you hear this and read this, I want you to think about groups you know, groups in your city, groups in your state, groups in your nation. and their claim to be for your best interest and to be for the best interest of your people, and analyze and question and ask yourself, what have they really done for us? Is it just talk, or is it lies? You be the judge of that. I'm not really here to point the finger. I'm here to cause consideration. No opportunity should be missed to exploit through counterintelligence techniques the organizational and personal conflicts of the leadership of the groups, and where possible, an effort should be made to capitalize upon existing conflicts between competing Black nationalist organizations. When an opportunity is apparent to disrupt or neutralize Black nationalist hate-type organizations through the cooperation of established local news media contacts, or through such contact with sources available to the beat of government. I think that's beat or boat. Beat, boat, one of them. In every instance, careful attention must be given to the proposal to ensure the targeted group is disrupted, ridiculed, or discredited through the publicity and not merely publicized. See, I want you to understand this as well. They wanted to discredit Black groups in the eyes of onlookers, right? Not all white people are inherently racist. Many of them would sympathize with us, but through the media, they have been given disinformation, or they have been given the results of this counterintelligence. Because they got in and made groups hate each other and made groups fight amongst each other from the inside and out, then they show this in your newspapers. They show this on your TV screens, to where now they say, like many white people say, oh man, y'all just can't get it together. Oh man, y'all just can't do nothing. All y'all do is fight and kill each other and hate each other. They don't know it's been a whole government war placed upon us. They don't know. And a lot of them, they don't want to know. And when you tell a lot of them, they've been indoctrinated in their own ways. They've been made to feel prideful and feel boastful. And they've been puffed up in their chests and their hearts against us because of the disinformation they've been given about us. Just like many of us are finding out that foreigners come over here and are already racist against us. They think, oh, we don't want to work. They think, oh, we're lazy and we're all drug users and we all just kill each other. And then they get over here and meet us and find out that's not the case. But they were taught that before they ever got here. In their classes and their schoolings and their learnings, they are told these things. They are told, don't go amongst the blacks. Don't marry, don't hang, don't have any dealings with the blacks, because these are the things in which they do. It's counterintelligence. So that's counterintelligence of us against them. Now the counterintelligence broadly, or in the worst case, is us against each other. Now they've placed so many artificial groups from compromised leaders, compromised gurus and streamers, YouTube streamers, TikTok streamers, Twitch, Kick, so many doctrines, so many movements. They've put so many in the community. Now we will discredit each other because of these different movements and these different things, but none of it profits, none of it benefits, and they're happy with that. They'll pay people, they'll make people rich to be a part of this disinformation, to be a part of this counterintelligence. They'll give you a mega church. They'll give you a camp with interstate congregations, with international congregations. They'll give you these things as long as you are a part of this counterintelligence, as long as you are a part of the disenfranchisement of your people, knowingly or unknowingly. I wouldn't say that everyone knows exactly the harm they're doing, but many of them do know. And the ones who don't know, that's a large part. That's a large part of why they are promoted, because they're ignorant, because they aren't mindful, because you just a silly sheep. Oh, you a silly sheep? You know what? We're going to make you the leader of the sheep. How about that? The blind leading the blind. They both fall into a ditch. Ask yourself, if the group you are a part of, if they aren't widely addressing nationalistic issues, we're not talking about just for you and your little fringe group. No, we're talking about those who seek the benefit of their race as a whole, intently, earnestly, effectively, not just desires, but really boots on the ground work. If they aren't a part of that, then they're a part of the problem. Because what are you here for? You just, as they say, you in the way. They don't mind you being in the way, because you in the way of people trying to make real progress. You're not in the way of people trying to be clowns. You're not in the way of people trying to hurt something, tear something down. You in the way of people really trying to do the work. So now the people don't see the ones really trying to do the work. They see you out here dilly-dallying and willy-nilly. That's what they're going to see. And that's what we have. Consideration should be given to techniques to preclude violence, prone to rebel rouser leaders of hate groups from spreading their philosophy publicly or through various mass communication media. They don't want nobody who gonna make you angry at your circumstances. They don't want nobody who gonna cause you to really consider what following along with this system and this system's doctrines and mindsets and philosophies is doing to you. They don't want you to consider that. And anybody that would make you consider that, they want to discredit them. They want to get them out of the way. So be mindful when you see people being persecuted, when you see people being hated upon. You need to do your own investigation. They told us Kim Jong-un was the worst thing since constipation. But when you go to North Korea, you find out them people love that man. Most of them love him. Of course, you always have people that don't want to abide by guidelines and procedures, the rebels, if you will. You always have them, but most of them people only want to come here to live the Western way. And the Western way, by and large, is wicked as hell. And that's the problem. You don't know that. You don't think that. You are one of the ones in whom the trick has been firmly laid. The plow has been firmly dug. Or a trench has been firmly dug. And the seed deeply rooted. You one of them. But to the ones who ain't, these tactics are for you. These consequences and repercussions are for you. And you have to choose within your mind and with your own heart to take whatever come with that. It's many people who who fell victim to this that we don't know. We won't hear of until later on. Through some circumstance, the higher power lets us learn of these people that paid the ultimate price for fighting for their people. We always think Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all that old stuff. It's a lot to be said about that, right? As far as it may not be what you think. Okay? They might have started crooked and went straight, or started straight and went crooked. I don't know. All I know is whatever they did, we was worse off after them. We was worse off after them. Martin sent a lot of us into Islam. Malcolm sent a lot of us off into Christianity and to, nonviolent protests. And I have a dream that little black boys and little white girls gonna hold hands, all this stuff. That led us into a whole other situation. Well, now we almost got more mixed babies than we got black on black babies. Martin's dream. So you tell me, how positive was it? When we were segregated, we had more money, we had more things in our own community. Segregation killed all that. They had us thinking.
I just want to say you mixed up those two people.
What, Martin, Malcolm? They had us thinking Rosa Parks had to fight to be on to ride the bus. You know what they didn't tell us? Black people had their own buses. Black people had their own taxis. You know what she didn't do? She didn't ride one of them buses. She didn't ride one of them taxis. She wanted to hop on the white bus. And this is the problem. This is a part of the problem. Disinformation. They tell you a bit of it, don't tell you all of it. That's like somebody said, hey man, you want to ride? You said, nah, I'm cool. And you tried to get to wherever you was going in another way, and you wind up getting beat, robbed, stomped out, raped, whatever happens to you negatively. And it said, oh man, I had to walk down such and such, and look what happened. But they don't never tell you somebody offered you a ride, that they offered you a ride because it's dangerous. I'm not offering you a ride for GP. I'm offering you a ride to save you from some kind of harm. And you turn that down because you'd rather do it your way, do it their way. And the harm befalls you because you did it their way. Should we feel as sorry for you as we would if you did everything right and it still went wrong? Many individuals currently active in Black nationalist organizations have backgrounds of immorality, subversive activity. Now, we're going to get into this word subversive, okay? When you find out, these people invented the word, okay? It's a whole game, okay? They have backgrounds in immorality, subversive activity, and criminal records. Through your investigation of key agitator, you should endeavor to establish their unsavory backgrounds. Be alert to determine evidence of misappropriation of funds or other types of personal misconduct on the part of militant nationalist leaders, so any practical or warranted counterintelligence may be instituted. You be on lookout for them doing anything wrong. So, on one hand, they want you to find people doing stuff wrong to expose it. But on the other hand, when it comes to subversion, They want to put people in power that's going to do stuff wrong. See, on the flip side of that, when they're looking for stuff wrong, although these people might have certain issues, at the end of the day, they're going to do stuff right. There was a mayor out of Washington, D.C. that the people loved. He kept the schools clean. He kept the streets clean. He kept the people straight. He got exposed for smoking crack. Said a man smoked crack, having sex with prostitutes. But when it came to ruling his people, the best ruler they ever known. More than their spick-span Caucasian politicians that seemed to do everything right, but never actually did anything at all, and who would later come out to be involved in the Epstein files. See, things like this is what we have to understand, is that we need to start looking for substance. We need to start looking for true effect and not prosperity preaching and not prosperity doctrines. We need to be able to look out and see true change, not some emotional roller coaster, which is the majority of what we see. Let's put a hold on that. I had pulled some scripts, because we ain't just got like this as a people, right? We ain't just started this. Let me show you something else. I looked up something. I looked up some scriptures. And I said, places where the Most High says the people are foolish for following wicked leaders. Because this is what we got to understand. That COINTELPRO was to stop the organic and the real leaders. But what about the fake leaders? What about the compromised? What about the soul sellers, the sellouts, the Uncle Toms, right? Or the Sambos or whatever you want to call it. What about them? This says, hold on. This ain't doing what I wanted. Hold on now. All right. It says, why is this not behaving? It's not scrolling for me. Is this scrolling, babe? No. I'm talking about the screen. Is it scrolling? It ain't scrolling for me. Hold on, y'all. This thing just came all the way off of it. All righty. Mic check, mic check. Mic check. All right, we got action. So this thing been. Hold on, y'all. Salakia. Give me a second. I just have all kind of issues with this thing at the wrong times. Mic check, mic check. Uh, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you, but you ain't got nothing else. Stop. No.
That cord and got fried on me. That's what happened. There we go. Mic check, mic check. Let's go. All right. Thought I okay. Like I said, I pulled up some scripts. Want to see what the scripts got to say about how people following after leaders, wicked leaders. So now it don't want to read the thing like it's supposed to be reading the thing. Okay, there we go. Why I won't keep doing it though? That's what I got the problem with. All right, man. I'm just gonna read the thing. Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 31 says, the Most High calls it a horrible and shocking thing that prophets prophesy lies, priests rule by their own authority, and my people love to have it this way. Isaiah chapter 9 and 16 says, those who guide this people mislead them, and those who are guided are led astray. Hosea 8 and 4 says, the Lord declares that the people set up kings, but not by me. They make princes, but without my approval, leading to their own destruction. 1 Samuel 8, 11 through 18. The Most High tells Samuel to warn the people that asking for a king like other nations, following a worldly leader, will lead to oppression. And in that day, the master will not answer you. You know why? Because you chose it. So we need to be mindful of the kind of leader, the characteristics we look for in leaders. We're looking for the wrong characteristics. We're looking for worldly mindsets, worldly things from these leaders. And that's the problem. Second Kings 21 and 9. And it says, oh yeah, one moment. And it says, it is recorded that the people did not listen and allowed King Manasseh to lead them astray, causing them to do more evil than the nations the master had destroyed. Matthew 15:14 and Luke 6:39 says, Jesus or Yahusha calls out the folly of following bad leaders, saying, if the blind lead the blind, both will fall into a ditch. Ezekiel 34:2 and 6 says, the master expresses anger against the shepherds or leaders who feed themselves instead of the flock, noting that the flock was scattered and became food for wild animals because they followed selfish leaders. The wild animals are, by and large, these other nations, whom he calls brute beasts, right? Proverbs 29:12. If a ruler listens to falsehood, all his officials will be wicked. A leader without understanding, wow, I lost it. I lost it. So, yeah, that's what we got there on that, right? These wicked leaders, man. These wicked leaders. So let me share this other thing with y'all. We're gonna get on up out of here. Wow, I didn't closed it out. Hold on. We can get it back. Google got histories. Let's get the histories pulled up here. Get the histories pulled up here. Sabotage. That's what we're looking for. We want to know about the sabotage. Let's find out about the sabotage. Sabotosia. What you know about it. Let's find out about the sabotage. First of all, let's find out about the meaning of the word sabotage. Uh, subversion. Did I erase that? Yeah, let's find out the meaning of the word sabotage. Sabotage means to deliberately, to deliberately destroy, damage, or obstruct something, especially for political or military advantage. So you're not doing it for no reason. You're doing it for some political or military advantage. This is a war, brothers and sisters. This is most definitely a war. That by and large you are losing. If it was not for divine intervention, you would all have but been completely, completely conquered. Right? So why is it sharing two things though? So let's get into this handbook. You know, they have a handbook on sabotage. Did you know it? Did you know it? Well, if you didn't know it, then you're gonna know it today. It's called the handbook. It's called Simple Sabotage Field Manual. Okay, this is what you get your little booklet and you go do your homework. Your homework on what? Simple Sabotage Field Manual Strategic Services. Strategic Services Field Manual. This is what these are files, much like the Epstein files. There's been a bunch of files released, right? Forget about the Epstein files. You need to go look at this, right? And it talks about what it's about. Let's see here. It says the Simple Sabotage Field Manual Services is published for the information and guidance of all concerned and will be used as the basic doctrine for strategic services training for this subject. The contents of this manual should be carefully controlled and should not be allowed to come into unauthorized hands. Well, all praises to the Most High. It is most definitely in unauthorized hands today. Right? The instructions may be placed in separate pamphlets or leaflets according to categories of operations, but should be distributed with care and not broadly. They should be used as a basis of radio broadcasts only for local and special cases and as directed by the theater commander. You know what the theater has in it? Actors. And it was written by William J. Donovan. This is the director of the CIA when this came out. Okay, you got the CIA and you got the FBI. These are two government agencies in charge of sabotaging and counterintelligence. Now, this is not just for us. Saboteurs is not just a thing they put in our community. They use sabotage all over the world. They admittedly sabotage elections. They admittedly appoint rulers over countries that they control. This is the this is the book of how they are to get these people under their control. Okay? They're not done with this. They still do this and do more. So ask yourself, how many of your people, how many of your leaders have been corrupted by these rules? How many of your people have been sabotaged? Okay? Let's get on into it. I'm pretty sure I'd have been blocked on TikTok and all kind of stuff by now. I'm pretty sure. Check my TikTok, back. See what we got. So I hate that it's so low for y'all, man. Hold on, let me see if okay, this is the introduction. We ain't gonna be able to read the whole thing. This is on CIA.gov. Okay, if you're looking, or just Google the Simple Sabotage Field Manual, and it should come up for you. The purpose of this paper is to characterize simple sabotage, to outline its possible effects, and to present suggestions for inciting and executing it. Sabotage varies from highly technical coup de main, coup de manix, coup de manix, that require detailed planning and the use of specially trained operatives to enumerate to innumerable simple acts which the ordinary individual citizen saboteur can perform. Okay, they want to break it down to the basis. This is what you have to understand. You have government agents that go to a place and find a regular person and make them into the sellout. They don't start out knowing all this stuff. They get compromised and then they get taught how to move forward going forward. This is what you need to understand. This paper is primarily concerned with the latter type. Okay, they only want the regular citizen saboteur. They don't need the agent, special agent, such and such. No, they want Jenny from the block and Johnny from the corner to be their agents. So you can rule third party. The government can rule third party. The government don't have to rule their agent. They rule their agent and their agent rules the citizen. And the citizen unknowingly works for the government. They think they just with the agent. No, you with the government. This paper is primarily concerned with the latter type. Simple sabotage does not require specially prepared tools or equipment. It is executed by ordinary citizens who may or may not act individually and without the necessity for active connection with an organized group. And it is carried out in such a way as to involve a minimum danger of injury, detection, or reprisal. So they're gonna train these people good. You ain't gonna be no regular old geek off the street when they get done with you. Okay. Where destruction is involved, the weapons of the citizen saboteur are salt, nails, candles, pebbles, thread, or any other materials he might formerly be expected. Now, be mindful that sabotage overseas is mainly about disruption, right? So they'll teach people how to make bombs. They'll teach people how to assassinate certain people, right? This is what this handbook is entailing of how you handle them, what you teach them. They said this kind of person only needs regular household items to cause havoc and wreak hell. I want you to consider the mindset of the government entity that thinks like this. Jason Bourne and you know the Equalizer is a great example of this. The Equalizer, all of these agents have what's called a caseworker. These are the people that read these manuals that went out and found these people. Somebody went out and found Denzel Washington and trained him up to be the Equalizer. He didn't read this book. Somebody else taught him what they learned out of this book. Jason Bourne was taught by somebody who read this book or a book like it. This is what you got to understand is how these people operate, how these people move. And then ask yourself, your leader who is compromised, they've been sabotaged. They've been taught how to move, how to operate in ways that would destroy the very movement in which they participate in, how to be controlled opposition. Controlled opposition in itself tells you there's a problem. Controlled opposition is, I'm the government. Controlled opposition is, you gonna act like you don't like the government. Whole time you work for me. That's controlled opposition. So don't be shocked by, oh no, I know they ain't working with the government. All they do is talk about the government. Nigga, that's how this works. Hmm? They ain't no way he'll sell out. All he do is talk about sellouts and how he ain't gonna never do it, how they wrong. He ain't no way it's him. That's one of the main ones it's gonna be. Okay? It's the ones that's always talking about it. The ones who is in a position because of his loud speech and his loud stuff to gain influence over people. That to cause you to point the finger. Think about it. Think about all your famous people. All your famous speakers and your famous ones that get millions of views and get donations and got a whole bunch of eyes watching them. You know, I can't even get 5 or 6 people on this podcast. This thing, but this is this is probably more understanding than you get in a month of Sundays. But it is what it is. To he who have ears, let him hear, right? To he who have eyes, let him see. So I'm really gonna just leave it alone. I'm gonna touch on a couple of these things and I'm gonna get up out of here. Personal motives. The ordinary citizen very probably has no immediate personal motive for committing simple sabotage. Instead, he must be made to anticipate indirect personal gain, such as might come with enemy evacuation or destruction of the ruling government. You got to let them know, hey, all this coming down. Where you going to be when it come down at? Huh? That's what Lil Wayne said. I know what they don't want to tell you. Just hope you're heaven sent and you're hell proof. So they done told Lil Wayne, hey, this whole thing coming down. Where you want to be when it come down? He been sabotaged. Not only him, all the celebrities, all the politicians. Fear mongering. That's what it's all about. And you control through the fear. The ordinary citizen very probably has no immediate personal motive for committing simple sabotage. Instead, he must be made to anticipate indirect personal gain, such as might come with enemy evacuation or destruction of the ruling government. Group. Gains should be stated as specifically as possible for the area addressed. Simple sabotage will hasten the day when Commissioner X and his deputies Y and Z will be thrown out, when the particularly obnoxious decrees and restrictions will be abolished, when food will arrive, and so on. You gotta let this sellout know what you gonna do to keep them straight when everybody else falling. Okay? Oh, you ain't got to worry about none of that because on this date and on this date, we're going to take care of that. And on this day, we're going to take care of this. You know what the sellout sell out for? They sell out for the greater good. Okay? That's what it's all about. They sell out for the greater good. Sell out for my family. Okay? I do evil so that others may do good. Okay? That's what it's about. Abstract verbalizations about personal liberty, freedom of the press, and so on will not be convincing in most parts of the world. You can't get them with the good stuff, you got to get them with the bad. In many areas, they will not even be comprehensible. Since the effect of his own acts is limited, the saboteur may become discouraged Another word for saboteur is a double agent. Okay, a double agent may become discouraged unless he feels that he is a member of a large, though unseen group of saboteurs operating against the enemy of the government of his own country and elsewhere. He got to feel like a part of a team. Be aware of people that want to feel like they are part of something, who ain't got no other morals and values. They just want to be a part of a clique. They like Brandy and Monica. They just want to be down. You gotta watch. Because the problem is you want to be down so much you'll do whatever it takes to be down. The problem is what it's gonna take to be down, it's gonna be your soul. It's gonna be your morals and values. That's what it's gonna take. You don't just get to be down willy-nilly. Oh no. We want we want we want a right on. We want the kitchen sink with this. Since the effect of his own acts is limited, the saboteur may become discouraged unless he feels that he is a member of a large, though unseen, group of saboteurs operating against the enemy of the government of his own country and elsewhere. This can be conveyed indirectly. Suggestions which he reads and hears can include observations that a particular technique has been successful in this or that district. You got to let them know about other stuff you done did, or just lie and say, "Hey man, look, we did this same thing over here. It worked out good. Old boy over there, he worked for us." That's what the celebrities say about getting compromised in their booty holes. Okay, they say such and such. He gave his booty hole up. Look, we got it on video. We got it on video. He gave his booty hole up the other night. Had a whole train ran on him. So it ain't. You may as well do it too. And that's the mindset of these people. You may as well because so and so did it. If so and so did it, you can do it too. Even if the technique is not applicable to his surroundings, another success. Hold on. Even if, even if the techniques is not applicable to his surroundings, another's success will encourage him to attempt similar acts. It also can be conveyed directly. Statements praising the effectiveness of simple sabotage can be contrived, which will be published by white radio, freedom stations, and the subversive press. Estimates of the proportion of the population engaged in sabotage can be disseminated. Instances of successful sabotage already are being broadcast by white radio and freedom stations, and this should be continued and expanded where compatible with security. More important would be to create a situation in which the citizen saboteur acquires a sense of responsibility. Hey, listen, I'm helping my people, and begins to educate others in sabotage. Listen, the chosen few. So the leader ain't just wicked, his whole council. He just he brings others like unto himself and reveals his true self unto them. He bears his arm to his brethren. You know what they become? Illuminated. Huh? He illuminates them. He brings them into the light. Oh man, listen, that might be too much for you. But yeah, man, that's what it is, man. I'm not gonna get into all this. I was thinking about it, but I'm an hour in. So we're gonna leave it there. That's what it is. So anyway, let's be mindful of the leaders of the people, you know, the wicked ones that that seem to be for the people, but really is hindering and harming the people, really just in the way, really just loud gongs and tongues making noises, right? A bunch of scribes and Pharisees that sit at the head of the people, that sit in offices that's meant to oversee and help and guide and protect the people, but they really sabotage and teaching false doctrines and doctrines of men and traditions of men. Hmm? Let's just be mindful. I'm not here to point out and tell you who's who and what's what. I'm just asking you to consider for yourself who's who and what's what. All praises to the Most High, the Creator of the heavens and the earth, the seas and everything in them. And thanks to His being His Son, Yahushua Hamashiach. And it's 12 tribes, but it's one nation.